And January is cold. I'm pro global warming. Space heaters. A lot of people use space heaters. Something about space heaters. Most of them have a tip over thing on the bottom, so if they fall over, they're going to automatically shut off. Knock them over. The other thing about space heaters is people like to get them too close to your beds or too close to materials that will catch fire rather easily. The other thing that people do with space heaters is a space heater is designed to be plugged directly into an outlet in a wall. You don't want to plug a space heater into something like this. This is good for about 15 amps when your space heater is running on about 20 amps. So these cords connected to space heaters make great fires. The other thing you don't want to plug them into is you don't want to use a multi-plug adapter and plug them in those, because again, this is good for about 15 amps and people overload these all the time and these cause house fires and they want to plug their space heaters in. Away from anything that's combustible is where you want to keep your space heaters, okay? Wintertime, you get a lot of space heaters fires. We've actually made a fire where somebody was using a kerosene heater in their house and it ran out of fuel, so they tried to refill it while it was still in their house, and they caught the fire. So be very careful with your space heaters. Be careful with your extension cords and your adapters. Make sure you're not overloading those with amperage. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Question? Nope. You want these space heaters should be plugged directly into an outlet. Surge protectors are the same. You can run into the same problems with those. You're just overloading them with the space heater. Yep.
Thank you so much. We have an EPD report with Linda Jones.
The crime prevention office, they started their sector meetings and their partnership meetings up again. The first partnership meeting will be on Wednesday, March the 6th at 6 o'clock right here at the CK Center. The next coffee to the top is February the 15th at Chick-fil-A at Councilor. And they are taking applications for the Citizens Academy registration. So the Citizens Academy runs from March the 1st to May the 24th. It's every Tuesday, and they're taking registrations for those now. So if anyone's interested, they can sign up.
I will say with your newsletter, there'll be an application for towards the end of next week.
Thank you. Now we have Zach Heronemus, Executive Director of Aurora of Evansville. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. I'll practice talk so I get my hands behind all of this. Well, Katie, Joe, and everybody else on the committee, thank you very much for inviting me out to speak. Maybe aware of what Aurora is, some of you may not. So I'll just kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of what our organization is and what we do here in the community. Our organization is a homeless services agency. And unlike what most folks think about when they think about homeless services, we're not a shelter, we're not a soup kitchen. We kind of consider ourselves a niche organization. And what I mean by that is rather than shelter and food, we're providing case management. That wraps around the lives of people each and every year. How we do that is we partner with the state of Indiana, we partner directly with the federal government, we partner with the city of Evansville, we partner with United Way of Southwestern Indiana, meeting corporate partners, as well as a bunch of individual donors that help round out funding to ensure that we have qualified professional social workers on staff every day of the week, ensuring that we're doing the best that we can to serve the most vulnerable folks in the community. So, with respect to the homeless experience in our community, it is quite tremendous. And I'll throw this out to you. 2 years ago, in our point in time count, we had 488 individuals in shelter or on the street. 92 of those individuals were identified as being part of our street population. The rest of them were in shelters, great shelter partners, whether it be Rescue Mission, United Caring Services, Roof House, which is the women's shelter associated with UCS, House of Bread and Peace, which is the women's shelter, Newsome Family Shelter, which is our only family shelter in our community, has 32 units for families, as well as the YWCA and Housing Shelter that we as well. 488 does not sound like a lot, right? When you look at the state of Indiana and you look at, population bases like Indianapolis or Gary or Fort Wayne or whatever it might be, Evansville actually has the highest per capita rate in the state of Indiana. And to put that in perspective, that same 2-year number, and I'm using that 2-year number because in 2020 or in 2021, when we did our point in time count, census was really low in the shelters because social distancing and mitigating risk for the vulnerable population that has underlying health conditions. So it was really difficult to capture a true number in 2021. There was still about 340, which is pretty significant. But in 2020, when we had 488 on our streets, Indianapolis had 14. Indianapolis is 7.5, 8 times the size of the city of Evansville, but they only had 3.5 times the amount of individuals and families and children and seniors experiencing homelessness. A lot of folks ask, why is it, what is it about Evansville and Southwestern Indiana that, causes this? We can speculate all we want, but when we look at data and we look at community indicators here in the city of Evansville and Edward County, we have a higher rate of mental health issues. We have a higher rate of substance use. We have what I would say, a misunderstood affordable housing situation. Now, housing is really affordable for the middle class or upper class, right? But when you're renting a home down here in Bakersville, it might be affordable on the surface level, but every year you've got probably about 6 months, 3 in the summertime and 3 in the wintertime, where your utilities oftentimes match, that $550, $700, whatever it might be for that household. You and your kids and your significant other are renting out, right? Not only that, Evansville has one of the lowest per capita or median household incomes in the state of Indiana. You factor all of those things in, and the fact that the state of Indiana doesn't have tenants' rights laws in effect to prevent evictions, and we've got a pretty significant recipe for why Evansville and Edward County has the highest per capita rate of homelessness in the state of Indiana. So, what is Aurora's role? Aurora's role is to convene all of the programs that we have. At this moment, we have several programs going on. Our bread and butter, what we're most known for, is our outreach team. We work hand in hand with multiple agencies, organizations of faith, the Evansville Police Department, to get out where you and I and most people in Evansville don't even realize folks are seeking refuge, right? Whether it's our shelters, whether it's taking to the bridge, whether it's Newsome friends downtown. One of our other big programs is the Rapid Rehousing Program, specifically designed to work with our shelters to reduce census, because a lot of folks don't realize when you're at UCS, when you're at Newsome, it's a 45-day emergency shelter, right? And so our rapid rehousing, our housing support team works specifically with clients in shelters to leverage these funds to get folks out, hopefully within that 45-day time frame. I'll tell you right now, it's a difficult task. Coming off of COVID, we've seen property owners and entities lost a lot of revenue, with eviction moratoriums and all that. people struggling tremendously in our community, right? Fair market rent rates are really hard to come by, and most of our programs require that we rent properties for clients, category 1 homeless, within that or below, right? So, not only that, but our affordable housing stock, our Section 8 housing stock, our permanent supportive housing stock is very, very limited. So not only are our clients, fighting over 35, 25 to 35 units, depending on what their case is, right? If they're, single person, if they're a two-family, two-person family, three-person family, five-person family, whatever it might be, they're fighting among themselves to get into them. And our case managers are working diligently to try and find them housing. But they're also competing with everybody else who doesn't have those. Easily move on into a place. And maybe doesn't have the barriers that folks experiencing homelessness do, right? We've got some permanent supportive housing programs. One is called our Beacon program. It's a scattered site program. What Beacon does is it works to move chronically homeless off of the streets or out of shelter. Those that have profound medical qualifying conditions, whether it's mental health, substance abuse, physical disabilities, or a combination thereof, right? We also have another permanent supportive housing program that we partner with the Evansville Housing Authority, Division 1505, and that's a 36-unit family permanent supportive housing that has that same qualifier that we do. One of our relatively new programs is our Housing First program. It focuses on it's an intermediate program, focuses on individuals that have mental health or substance abuse or a combination thereof. Oftentimes, folks are in that program about 9 months before we're able to, by the time we get them stabilized, and they're able to take care of themselves. One of our very proud programs that we have is our reentry program. Our reentry program started about 7 years ago. It's a pilot program in the state. What we do is we focus on recently released felons from either state or federal prisons, right? So the DOP or the DOC, and I can't remember which one it is. But this program is tremendous, and the data shows it as well. We're going through anywhere between 115 to 135 clients a year, getting them housed through this particular program. And our ongoing recidivism rate for this particular program is 17%. 17% of individuals that come through this program end up finding themselves back in prison. Pretty high number. But when you think about without services, the state average for recidivism for folks coming out of prison that have felonies on their record, right, is 39%. So we're more than cutting that number in half. And it's a testament to what case management does, stabilizing people, and oftentimes we're reuniting families as part of this as well. One of our other programs, which is really been a byproduct of COVID, is our prevention and diversion program. Aurora for a long time, our mission is to prevent and end homelessness. We've always been on the Indian side. We're really getting into the prevention side. When we think about barriers to housing, and what we see as one of the most tremendous barriers is evictions. We have a lot of property owners and managers, for their good business sense, do not want to take risks on folks that have prior evictions on the record. Some of them will not rent for up to 7 years after they've had an eviction. That's like a bankruptcy. And if you think about somebody that is vulnerable, who's lost their house, lost everything that they own, maybe dealing with illness, mental health, substance abuse, whatever it might be, housing is essential to getting on a path of restoration. Right? Without housing, you have nothing. You might have some trauma, you might have a whole bunch of stress, but that likelihood of improving your life without housing is not there. So through these programs, you know, we have a focus on being, and our partners really and truly help us see the success that we do on a day-to-day basis. What I mean by that is, you know, at Aurora, we are experts in, you know, case management for Category 1 homes, right? And what that means is we're good at building housing plans, we're good at building income plans, and we're good at building restorative life plans. But that last one doesn't happen with the partnerships that we have. Whether it's our shelter partners, whether it's a Southwestern behavioral or eco healthcare or an eco housing, or a, you know, job skill up training program. You know, we partner with financial institutions, with financial literacy classes. We partner with the CLC for their gaming program, and parenting programs with parenting time. It is, you know, the epitome of what you really want to see in a community, and we are fortunate to sit right in this scenario with, you know, the most vulnerable residents in our community. So I want to kind of touch on a couple of things, and one of them I can't stress enough. Housing in the city of Evansville and Vanderbilt County is in a significant process. At Aurora, we are, and our board is, you know, positioning us, and our staff is positioning us to be tremendous advocates for affordable housing. Really housing on you know, whether it's subsidized, whether it's permanent supportive or affordable all around. Now, at this time, if we had every dollar in the world to house all, you know, 400 plus individuals experiencing homelessness in our community, we would not have a place to go. It's a significant issue. It's something that, you know, we need to be screaming from the mountaintops that, you know, what we deem affordable is really not, right? Because oftentimes they can't pass inspections that are required of our programs, right? Oftentimes, you know, as I said earlier, the utilities are, you know, kind of that snake in the grass, so to speak, that comes out and bites you when you're not expecting it. These are things that we have to think about as a community to, you know, improve the situation, not only just through the social service agencies, but as a community infrastructure side of things. When it comes down to the folks that we serve, I want to talk just real briefly about something that we did that was somewhat kind of radical in a sense, right? We went way away from the gingerbread competition fundraiser, and we took 12 community leaders, myself included, the mayor, State Representative Brian Hatfield, Assistant Chief of Police Phil Smith, some other community leaders, and some of my board members. And we sat out on the streets and we engaged and we immersed in, you know, the services that are being provided, you know, either from the shelters, from the soup kitchens, from our pantries, from mental health services, from our health department, all everybody has their own backstory. I can tell you, working in it, it was still the most physically and mentally exhausting 48 hours I've ever had in my life. I say that because when you're in the homeless experience, keep in mind, like, people are not homeless. They're not homeless people. They're not now, right? Homelessness is an experience. It's a journey. And oftentimes, the uncertainty, the stress, the inability to see things happen or make them happen at a pace that you and I, in our day-to-day lives, you know, oftentimes, think an eye and the day's over, right? But there's a lot of downtime when it comes to the homeless experience. There's a lot of labor. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of people who don't show compassion for you now. So much so, we had two of our participants immersed in literally walked right by family members and they did not recognize. I don't know if it's a human nature thing. I don't know if the, innate uncomfortableness where we divert our eyes from folks. But I want you to know that the people that have experienced homelessness, they have value. They could have been a CEO. They could have been, a line worker at a factory. They could have been a former law enforcement. They could have been a veteran, right? We have about 35 veterans out on the street and shelters right now. They have families. So I would say to you, when it comes to our community, the way that we treat our most vulnerable is the best indicator of the strength and vitality of our community. I would encourage you to take the time when you do have that opportunity to interact, to do something kind for them, right? It doesn't have to be $1 here, $1 there, McDonald's, or a cup of coffee. It could just be, how are you doing? How can I help? How can I move that individual, that family, in a direction where services can be provided, wrapped around convenience, and that well, the long and short of it is, Aurora is here to be champions for the people that we serve. We're going to do our best day in and day out. High road or low road, good day or bad day, our clients are happy because it can be all over the place. I know law enforcement folks in the area and probably even fire department folks that probably have the most experience. And I would encourage you guys, especially, to extend a lot more than probably the last person. Because I know you guys see them most oftentimes as the worst, right? So when it comes down to us, our focus for the future, we're going to be great advocates for the people that we serve. We're going to be great advocates for things that can help move the needle in housing and restoring the lives of people that we serve. And your advocacy in a multitude of areas can only help champion that. I'll say, obviously, from Aurora's perspective, we would love your support. We would also love your support for all of our partners that help make a difference. Because as I said, we're great at housing, we're great at income plans, we're great at those sort of life plans, but that is a community effort, that idea that it takes a village, right? It really does take a village. Not just to raise a child, but to focus on social issues that are important to improving our community as a whole. So, going forward, I've got some information out here for you. We are working on our 2021 annual report. I will tell you that 2021 has been an extremely busy year. By July, we had served nearly, I think, we were about 275 individuals away from serving what we served in the entirety of 2020. From October of 2020 until probably a few months ago was the peak of our eviction prevention assistance program. We have been able to keep 350 households housed rather than being evicted, and most importantly, potentially experiencing homelessness. And year in and year out, we're housing, anywhere between 300 and 400 individuals. They're supposed to be individual households, they could be family unit households, it runs the whole gamut. But at the end of the day, if there's anything that you can take away, the misconceptions of the homeless experience, that it's all substance abuse, that it's all mental health. The data on a national level, which really translates all across, is only about 40% of people 25% of those are profound, right? Substance abuse is there, but it could be anything. It could be that senior citizen that was catfish, through social media and all that. It could be that senior citizen that was, had a Jamaican lottery scam. It could be that, single mother who lost their husband, right, or a multitude. Or it could be just, bad luck and financial issues. Regardless, that pathway, those reasons for experiencing homelessness very greatly, that pathway out, that journey to restoration, very great. And that's really and truly what Aurora's role is. Look at that individual, look at that family, and find the best pathway to that point. So, I could keep talking forever, I promise. Any questions? Yes.
When you were saying about not making eye contact with people that you see that are homeless, can you talk a little bit about the people who stand on the corner who are known not to be homeless, but they hold up a sign that says homeless? So therefore, a lot of people in the community, that's their perception of being homeless, and they're not really. Can you touch upon that? Because I don't look at those people, because I know that they're more than likely just out there trying to make 100 hours a day or more.
Right, so, yeah, we've been talking about this for a few years now, right? So the reality is in our community, I would say 9 out of 10 folks that you see panhandling are not truly experiencing it, right? Now, what I will say is they probably all are on a fixed income. They're probably in not so good of a living situation, and they probably do need supplemental. Okay. We would love to see them, get involved in some other things, but a lot of folks that get on fixed income, it's really hard for them to walk. Has anybody heard of fiscal cliff, right? When you start making too much money and all of the benefits go away. Well, that fiscal cliff, if you have income, you have Medicaid, Medicare, you get to that point, it's real easy to fall off that fiscal cliff because the number isn't that high, right? But once you start making that money, everything else goes away, but you really have to get way up here to start getting the benefits and everything else that you have. So that is what I know and what we understand most of those cases are. What I will say is, our population is effectively invisible. Not just for the fact that folks won't look at it. And I'll tell you this, in 48 hours, there is not one single person that recognized me. You believe it? Now, we didn't stick them in a wheelchair because people in wheelchairs, people really don't look at folks in wheelchairs as well, right? But imagine, right? Wayne Hart was there. Not a single person recognized Wayne Hart. Brian Hatfield literally walked by his cousin. Close enough they could have probably brushed shoulders. And his own cousin did not. Assistant Chief Bill Smith. His wife didn't recognize him, and his brother didn't recognize him while he was pushing the man. His brother went by and right? I mean, I used to think that the population that we serve was invisible from a geographical standpoint. Meaning, if you didn't work downtown, if you didn't live downtown, if you didn't work or live in Jacobsville or Fulton or Nebraska or Star neighborhood, where all the services are, like, I thought that's what it was. But no, I experienced it myself. People do not want to work. And that,
I just say about the homeless person that I know, talking about that. Never stood up. As a college degree. He worked for 60 years old. He has Parkinson's. Last job he had, he was a dealer at the last Parkinson's. He was evicted from his house. His 3 sisters. He can't hear. My friend is a doctor, looking at that. I hear it. What's going in? I think if you can't hear, you develop certain cognitive problems. It's kind of another world. Unfortunately, he's got eyes closed. Hey, no one a good harmonica player?
Yeah.
Yes. But I think that's more of a homeless. He was homeless for a while. Got evicted from his apartment, he played his TV out. And he got evicted. He was in another one, got evicted because he can't take care of the place himself. He's now in an apartment. It's going okay.
Yeah.
But I think he's more of a homeless. Was homeless, lived in rescue mission for a couple months. I guess the one thing that we have certain rules with rescue.
They do have some serious rules with rescue. They don't tolerate that.
You can't come in drunk.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Did get an alcohol rehab program, which is probably good for him. He has Parkinson's disease. So I think he may be doing better, but he's still on the way his home. Just read something. I wonder how that.
Now, I'll tell you, for some of our toughest cases, we had this is one of our really, this is one of the common misconceptions about the services that we provide is that we can move it like this. We got all this money, right? We give people a house. I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's a minimum of a year, right? If somebody's on a fixed income and we have to get them to come up to housing situation, and that pool is for units is really, really small. That list is really, really big. We have the capacity to move folks, and that's why I got the housing program. Just tell us to go this off, right? Leave me alone. I don't want you. I don't need you. I can do this on my own, or I'm okay doing it. We had a guy lived in an encampment out off Allen's Lane, right off the tracks. Individuals. They had sophisticated. They had fixed income. They had TV. They had generators. They had heaters. I don't think they had portable air conditioning. But wouldn't surprise me if they did. I was out there with a cold. I was really impressed. They had tents upon tents upon tents and stuff on stuff on stuff. And then one day, Natasha, our team lead, going and checking on her for our outreach team, going and check on them. And one day, he said, I'm ready. And we were able to get them out. Surprisingly enough, like within 3 months, it was one of those happy circumstances. Right? But he had to be ready, and part of our, we see a lot of success, we see a lot of failure. It's really tough business in home service. The folks that we serve have a lot of trauma, have a lot of baggage, so to speak. God bless the people that I work with. They carry a lot of that on their shoulders. When they fail, when their clients fail, it tears them.
You have a partner that you
We don't specifically, we have partners, right? And another thing, I'll put an ask out there. If you know anybody who has a rental unit and needs tenants, just the FYI, Aurora pays, even with eviction moratoriums, we pay fully their attendance, we pay until we get them stabilized. We need more partners. We need more folks to give us an opportunity to house the most vulnerable folks in our community. So please be an advocate for partners to us in that respect, especially.
He went to Aurora, and I just don't think that was good. I think they did. I don't think,
I'm pretty sure we did.
I don't think he wanted.
I will say one other thing as well too, and this will be the last thing, and let's leave it at that. We get items all the time, donated to us in kind. It helps us out in a tremendous amount of ways, right? Number one, a lot of our grant money we get, we have to bring dollars to pay. Some programs are 100%, whatever we give, we have to bring 100%. Others are 25%. Some of them we can use items in kind to match because the passing those on to our clients. We love to have in-kind stuff. But think about the folks that are out on the street. Think about this morning when you woke up. Who all knew it was going to snow this morning? Anybody? I surely did. I'm getting ready to take kids to daycare and grade school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, snowed over. There's folks out in that every day. Matter of fact, when I walked into the office, there was a guy, when I pulled up to the office, I didn't walk to the office. There was a guy I know that walked from rescue mission, the white flag last night, to us. And I was there ready for us. Right? So when you are donating things, think about quality. Think about those line gloves, those line coats, those thermals, those things that can really make a difference in your lives while they are experiencing homelessness. So I can tell you, when I went out my 48 hours, it was cold, it was white flag up points, and I took a donated, really thin hat and glove set, and it did nothing. Nothing. So, just a little PSA. Hopefully that was.
No, you were perfect. Thank you so much for coming out. Do we have any announcements? I don't think we have any announcements at the moment. We need to go ahead and do the vote for the board members. Everyone should have a ballot.
All of our representatives have a ballot tonight. I think the only really competitive race is going to be the at-large board members. There's 5 to select. That's on the back side of the ballot. Our representatives would not mind to go ahead and filling out that ballot. Katie?
Can I ask if the candidates, if you could call out the candidates' names and make it
I will get the ballot myself first. All right, on the ballot tonight for re-election is President Katie Coons from Indian Woods, Windsong neighborhood. Myself for Senior Vice President, Brent Jackson. Is that enough? Regional Vice President, East Sector, Derek LaBrusse, who is not here tonight. Regional Vice President, South Sector is open. We have any nominees tonight for that? We will accept any nominees for any race. Regional Vice President, West Sector, Larry Samples. I do not see Larry here tonight. Secretary, Linda Jones, with Shane neighborhood. I do see Linda tonight. Hello, Linda. Everybody know Linda? Treasurer, Judy Kurth. Hi, Judy. She's with Pulver Neighborhood Association. Senior liaisons, Lucy Williams with Glenwood. I do not see Lucy here tonight. All right, on the back side, board members at large. Lou Porter, Linwood Neighborhood Association, she is not here tonight. Leonard Collins, Town Neighborhood Association.
Raise your hand, Lynn.
It's
He's
got
in-
the army cap on.
Hello, Leonard. We're missing a lot of our folks tonight. Sarah Corrigan is not here tonight. She's with University South Neighborhood Association. Kelly Mashby is here tonight. And Kelly is with the Greater Lincolnshire Neighborhood Association. Pam Grew is not here tonight with South Dexter Neighborhood Association. And Lindsay Shank called in tonight. She is with Helper Neighborhood Association. She cannot make it due to COVID. All right, do we have any other nominees for?
Correction.
Oh,
on the
correction.
ballot. Derek Rush is a 2-year term, so his name should not be on there. There is no election for that office until he resigns.
Okay,
So there is no voting for that.
thank you, Susan. All right, everyone had a chance to vote. I will go around the question.
Okay.
I'll bring the votes back once the ladies tally it up.
Seth Rainey is a sergeant and also with the Indiana State Police. If you could come up here, please. Oh, thanks.
I'll be real brief. I just want to thank Mr. Collins, he invited me to this meeting. And to be real honest with you, kind of apologize on the state police behalf because what I'm hearing tonight is we should have more people involved in meetings like this. So please accept my apology for us at the state. Maybe not you, basically, Denver County. Yeah, I don't want to speak for them as far as what they know here locally. But what I can say at the state police level and nationally, we see a trend right now. By the second time here, this word tonight, crisis. A crisis in police recruiting. Applications are down, resignations are up, retirements are up. I live in Mount Vernon, Indiana. I don't live in the Evansville community, but I love this community. I spent a lot of time here. I've policed in this area for 12+ years. I've been on with the state police running my 14th year. I've been lucky enough to be around the entire state of Indiana. I started off my career up in Mobile District, Northwest Indiana, and transferred back to here, Evansville, where our post is, covers 6 counties. Well, I guess I can hope for some of these neighborhood associations, some of you members tonight is you're our force multipliers. And what I mean by that is when the EPD or Vanderbilt County Sheriff's Office, Indiana State Police, a lot of times you see our stuff on social media, we're pushing for recruitment, all those kind of things. Sharing messages of positive interactions we're doing in communities. You guys are our force multipliers and share that information. We're right now hiring for our 83rd recruiting academy. And I'll tell you, when I came in policing, I came into it for a couple reasons. You know, I wanted to serve, and then two, in 2008, I heard the economy in the tank. And I was in the insurance industry. I was like, young, newly married, newborn child, and I was kind of scared about my financial future. And this is still one of those jobs that offers great opportunity and income for after retirement, all those kind of things. So I'm proud that all Southern Indiana, Indianapolis, all over the state of Indiana, try to push our message. I know these guys are also pushing their message for their local departments. Anything the state police can do, the neighborhood association meetings, we're out there. I know we're not seen as much, probably locally, have the Evansville folks, there's about 35 to 40 road troopers, probably 35 or less right now. So, you know, we're thinking at the local level, in my opinion. And as I said, it's a third application process, not near the numbers, just being honest with you, not near the numbers one would expect. Like I said, when I came from 2008, 5,000 applicants. Now we're seeing numbers, maybe 1,000 or less. In our current academy going right now, we're down to, I think, 26 today. Now, I said that trend. Applications are down, resignations are up. Retirements. So we got a lot of challenges in our communities. I know the fire department, sheriff's department, EPD, they've done a great job out here. It's hard for us to find great candidates. They're getting it too, so it's hard. So we just would appreciate you shared the message, got it out there. If there's anything we can do for it at the state police level, if it's coming to a local meeting or anything like that, please let me know. Or our local district know. That's all I wanted to say tonight. I probably took too much of your time. I don't want to give my way, Mr. Collins. He gave me the floor, but I couldn't resist not paying. So, I would encourage you to just do prayers. I mean, I'll speak in state, please. We need prayers around the state. You know, not as many people are seeing the harm of that. Some people go out and serve and make a difference in the community. Less and less see that, but people do. But what I can tell you, every day I got somebody come up and thank you for your service. More than I've ever heard of it. So I know the support's there. We just ask you guys to be more flyers, share the messages, share the recruiting things. You see them on Facebook. Todd Ringle's very great. All you probably see Sergeant Ringle or know him. He puts out a lot of information. If you have a son, a daughter, family members that you think that might be great at this profession, send them our way. We'll talk to them. I'll be in the same room this Saturday, January 29th. We're hosting a trooper hiring seminar. So state police, we're doing everything we can to educate our applicants. We're telling you how to be successful in the written test. I'm going to tell you how to be successful in a oral interview, how to dress for success. We're going to talk about our background investigation things. We're going to talk about our polygraph. We're going to be open, honest. We're going to show you the PT requirements, how to do it successfully. We'll work out with the attendees coming here. We'll be in the same room. So that's one thing we have coming up this Saturday. TK Newsome Center from 9 to noon. Yes, as far as the hiring seminar goes, no, we don't, because at the young, I started recruiting people. To be honest with that, I coach middle school football. I started recruiting police in middle school.
Yes.
Well, you gotta be 39. You gotta be or 40 below 40 to find an appointment. So, 20, but like I said, I really started interested in freedom home. We offer ride-alongs. Let's get in our troopers' cars. Let's get it educated. We want the public to know what we're doing. This is what we see all the time. It's out there. So there's career interest, ride-alongs, hiring someone going across the state. So yeah, those. If you know somebody or think of somebody, we can do everything out there from shaving tires. I put somebody out of rolling wombats yesterday. Broke down the interstate. So there's so much need for officers. And like I said, I don't know EPD if they're having the same struggles or Vanderbilt County, but I can tell you on the state police event, we're definitely seeing it. So, any questions? Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Susan, are you ready? You want to come up or?
Everyone on the front side, president will be regionalized South Sector, West Sector, Larry Sample, Secretary, Treasurer, Linda Jones, Treasurer, those are actually. Senior liaison would be Lucy Williams. And then for the board, it was 5 members, the Leonard Collins, Sarah Corrigan, Kelly O'Nashby, Sam Brew, and Lindsay Shea.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, do we have any more business to talk about tonight? Is there anything else? Okay, we are now going to move on to the next segment. We have 2 candidates here. Mr. Ashworth and Mr. Robinson are here. Mr. Ashworth, if you'd like to invite your friends in. Here we go.
You really need the friends. I mean, really? That's a lot.
You guys can fill up the seats if you want. We've got several seats available. Feel free to have a seat in the chairs. We have several seats available if you'd like to come in and grab a seat. I'd like to call up Mr. Robinson and Mr. Ashworth. Who would like to go first? Mr. Ashworth?
Probably do a lot.
That mic is on as well.
Well, that's to the electronic that we're recording.
I'll do it on my phone. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you allowing me to be here. Last week, we went to the, Noah and I were at the Culver neighborhood. We were going to speak tonight. And you tell a couple people that this is going to go on. And this right here, are the deputies that work with me. Including I didn't call, so got to really quick after talking in front of. So my name is Jason Ashworth. I'm in my 29th year with the sheriff's office. I'm currently a major in the sheriff's wedding. I started out in '93 as a corrections officer, 3rd shift, bottom of the barrel, a lot thinner than what I am right now. And in '95, I was hired as a deputy, and then I was moved to the detective office and promoted to sergeant, promoted to lieutenant, and I currently serve as a sheriff weddings major over the operations. I spent 14 years of my 29 in the detective office in criminal investigation section. So I investigated a wide variety of things, and I have street level experience, and that's why the sheriff has me where I am. The lead in motor patrol and detective office of K9, our civil process courts or the cards, and a wide variety of things that he has tasked me with, and report back to him to make sure things are going as he wants. Not only is it important, I think, for you guys to know who we are as candidates, but also to know who surrounds ourselves, who we surround ourselves with, who supports us. I was hired under Sheriff Ray Hammond as a Democrat sheriff in 1993. Seems like many years ago. Now, also, Brad Elford, who's retired, obviously, and went on to Congress. Sheriff Eric Williams, all those guys are on my committee. And I'm fortunate to be supported by our current sheriff, Dave West. Zach Heronemus, I don't know where Zach went. Zach's on my committee back here. So, Zach called and apologized for not wearing my shirt, because he had something else he had to talk about. My campaign chairman, Brian Happ, most of you probably know Ryan. Those guys don't put their name on me, their political careers with me, if they don't believe in me, believe what I stand for and the platform that I'll bring to the office. The first thing we want to do is carry on the tradition that we have. We want to hire the right people. Two of those guys are here tonight. We can have the sheriff hammered with recruit, getting the right thing. Seth, you're right. There were 600 people that applied when I applied back in the 90s. The last group that we had 59 applications. Right? And what do we end up with? 17 or so. It's pretty tough. So as deputy, you have to go out and recruit. With that is what? You want to make sure that your office reflects the community that it serves, right? The two guys here, Cam and Nate, that I worked with, and I helped, and I went to coffee with, and I answered the call. And I thought those two guys are going to be great assets to the office. And both of them are going to do a great job. The sheriff hired both of them, and we're really lucky to have them. We're going to continue to work to fight the things, the two most important things, in my opinion, that the community faces right now. 2 years ago, we had 60 overdose deaths. Last year, we had 87. In 2021, we had 107. We don't get a handle on the fentanyl that's coming into our community. It's not going to get any better. We're going to keep moving. We got to get a handle on that, get a handle on drugs. That's why you heard me make the statement of mine now. That under my administration, we're not going to fool around with people who smoke weed. If this misdemeanor level weed, we don't have time for that. We're going to move on. We're going to get back to things that are important. Zach mentioned a little bit, mental illness. It is a crisis that we have to deal with. We have a number of people in our facility right now that have acute mental illness that we need to deal with. That is why we will partner with Southwest, QCC, Deacon, all the people that will help us. And we can deal with that issue and not have these people in the sheriff jail. The sheriff doesn't dictate or determine who comes to the jail or leaves. He has to deal with them and be responsible for them and treat them humanely, whatever. If we have as many as we have in our jail, we have them sleeping on the floor. That's why he fights to have a jail. Everybody's heard about the jail expansion, right? I want to make it very clear, and I won't speak for him, but I do want to, I guess I do want to touch on it. We spoke about it today. We have a jail built for 550 people. We have 719 of them. It's too much. There's not enough room. There's not enough room for people. There's not enough room for people who work. It's an unsafe environment. The people are there and the people at work. Jail expansion is not to house more people. It's not to warehouse more people. It's to give the people and the clients that we have more room. More room for a female. We have a 60, I think you say a 64 bed unit for a female. We have 130 females in our jail. We have got to allow for them for training. We have the free program. We have addiction help. We have parenting classes, religious classes, the library. And all those things get reduced and brought down when you don't have room in your facility to provide it. And that's part of what the expansion and what the sheriff's going to work on. We continue to fight for to have the space to be able to do that. We can bring people in. And we can bring our pregnant, the females that we have in the facility that are pregnant and teach them and involve them once they leave. And he preached, and I agree, and I can't wait to carry it on, to have caseworkers. When you come into jail, you get assigned a caseworker, and they follow you once you're released. Does anybody here know, you've given this a lot, anybody know how many people we book in every year? over 10,000 people get booked into the jail every single week. And we have 700 people. So it's a pretty good percentage of people that get released, right? But makes it very, very difficult to have a true impact on every single person that gets arrested. If 90+% of them get released. That's why we need to have case workers and social services. We can follow them after they leave and help them and make sure that they stay employed. And make sure that they're raising their kids and providing, and they have housing, work with people like that. And our state representatives like Ryan Hatfield to make sure that these people have the things that they need to keep them out of our kids. It's the biggest monster we have, it's the biggest liability and the biggest responsibility we have as a sheriff. Obviously, our people are the biggest asset. Our jail is the biggest topic that you'll hear in the news and all. We're going to work with Southwest. We're going to return, take a tour of Southwest Behavioral Health in the facility. And they have a new program when you have someone standing outside in January watering their flowers, they don't need to go to jail. They need a service. They need help. And Southwest is now going to provide that, partner with the sheriff's office, make sure that they come out in a van and they take these people where they belong. And then our guys can go and respond to calls. These guys do that. Calls are stacking up and now responding to you call 911. A few things that are going to be that are important to me and as time goes on. Any questions before I stand?
Let's hold the question.
At the end? Okay, I'll stand up here. Guys, thank you very much.
Yes.
Good to be in front of, again, I really enjoyed coming out here and having a chance to address you again tonight. I'll keep my remarks brief. I don't want to campaign rally, but you guys have gotten to know me over this past year from coming out of these meetings. And tonight actually is the 1-year anniversary of when I announced my campaign. And during that announcement, I spoke about the need for better interface with the jail, our homeless population. So many of the folks who get released from our jail don't have a plan for housing when they go back into the streets. And so we hand folks off from the jail many times without an actual avenue towards stable housing, which, as we know, can lead to recidivism and folks reoffending. If you don't know where your next meal is coming from, or you don't know where you're going to sleep at, you can fall back into a pattern of criminality really quick. And so I am very eager to partner with organizations like Zach's, Aurora, and better able to communicate with their organizations and social services that are in the community. So when folks are released from the jail, they've got a pathway and they know where they're going to be going. So we're not just releasing folks back into the street without a plan to keep them back out of the jail. I'm very pleased I had a conversation with Jason Emerson recently. They're getting ready to stand up, hopefully within the next 6 months, their jail diversion program, United Parent Services. That'd be a great boon to the jail to help keep the number of folks from coming into that facility that could otherwise be diverted for minor offenses. And so UCS's program, which is slated to have around 7 beds for up to 23 hours a day, someone can stay there dealing with some kind of crisis. And oftentimes we'll see folks that have a minor crime, but we know it's commingled with an underlying substance abuse issue or a mental health issue. And so the UCS program allows to keep those folks out of jail and leave the space in jail for folks that actually need to be there, who are actually a danger to the public. And so the plans that I'm seeing now for jail expansion, I support. We do need to expand the jail, but I want to make sure that it's purpose-built, not just to expand the number of folks that are in the jail. We actually do so with a purpose. And so my plan would call for an expansion to create a treatment facility, a reformatory, so to speak, so we can shunt folks from the actual jail over to the reformatory and deal with their substance abuse and mental health issues, as well as vocational and job training. So we're not just warehousing people in that jail. We actually have a plan to fix the behavior that we're seeing and have them, when they leave the facility, better off than they were. And that is my plan to do that for the expansion. We just can't keep having jail cells. It's needed. I understand we need space, but we can add space without creating more jail cells. We can add space, purpose-built, to fix folks in there that have problems and not just lock them up in the cells and have no meaningful progress in spending time there. It will be a challenge, no doubt. We will take caseworkers and licensed clinical social workers and clinicians to get it done. It will cost money. But I am convinced that long term, the only way we solve our overcrowding problems, kicking that can down the road for 15 years, is to double down on treatment. And that's what you're going to get from the sheriff. Another big thing I'm a proponent of is community-based policing. You've heard me talk about that before. And I'm convinced that the only way that we can improve the image of law enforcement is to increase the amount of community-based controls that we have. So I'm not content to have police cars driving around the streets and responding to runs. I want our sheriff deputies invested in the neighborhoods which they serve. And that means putting deputies assigned to specific neighborhoods. So if the residents there get to know the sheriff deputy assigned to their neighborhood, that deputy will attend their neighborhood association meetings, their crime watch meetings, and crime prevention meetings. It'll become part of the fabric of the neighborhood that brings trust and communication and will help in our recruitment matters. We got to be able to recruit them, as Seth alluded to earlier. And I don't know what the overall solution to that is, but I can tell you that right now, I remember when I grew up, my favorite show was Chips. That's how I got into law enforcement, watching Ponch and John. Saw the day and every movie they've done. So I admired those guys. They were role models. And when I became older, I wanted to be like them and join the sheriff's office. But kids today don't have that same role model. Their role model all times is YouTube. They're watching YouTube and seeing cops behave like that. And it's discouraging because a police officer can be filmed doing something he shouldn't be doing. And it's all over YouTube and it's permanent. And all you have to do is Google police misconduct and you'll have more videos than you can watch in a week. So how can we fix that? Well, we fix that by training and hiring the best. It takes a commitment to actually having training that roots out bias. It exists. We have to acknowledge that it exists. So having training that actually roots out bias and teaches our deputies reality-based tactics, which we're doing now. But I want to make it so that sheriff deputies have the tactics and training they need to be able to function in a very evolving and complicated world. If our community can't trust the police officers that are responding to their runs are going to be fair and impartial, then our community can't trust their cops. And so what we need to do is have training programs that provide law enforcement with the tools they actually need to gain public trust. More community-based trust, the more familiarity our community has with their sheriff deputies, the better our recruitment is. I talk to folks sometimes that would never consider recommending their children a career in law enforcement. That's a real problem. If a parent can't see recommending that vocation to their child, how do we ever hope to solve a recruitment problem? And so a big part of that is on our shoulders. We as law enforcement officers have to rehabilitate the image of our agency. We've got a good agency. I'm proud to work there. But nationally, law enforcement's name has not been done for the mud. Not all that criticism is fair. It's not. But some of it is deserved. And to the extent possible, I want to make sure that our sheriff's office is a shining beacon example, a shining beacon to all law enforcement agencies in the region. I want us to be the best, the most forward-thinking, and as a result, attract the best and most qualified. I'm very honored to be here tonight. I won't take up all your time. If anyone wants to talk to me offline or after the fact, please get with me. And thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you so much. Neighborhood questions to ask either one of the, either Mr. Robinson or Mr. Ashworth. Anybody have a question?
Katie, I need to say something though. As you're at a neighborhood, usually we have candidates tonight and we have candidates come in. And in all fairness to the gentleman, Mr. Hales, who is on the Republican Party, when we host a candidates night in the fall, it will be past the primary when these two gentlemen will be running. So for those of you who just might be confused about that.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Any concerns?
And guys, thanks for having us.